Hello, 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 everybody. Today is Friday, February the 20th. We are still in Black History Month, thank God.
Hmm.
I am Keisha, one half of the host of the Regal Mindset podcast show. Jay, go ahead.
And I am Joy, Dr. Joy, the coach. I'm the other half of the Regal Mindset Show, and we ready to get y'all straight tonight.
Absolutely, on this good, lovely Black History Month. So today, which is actually, I think, in a lot of ways, very fitting that we talk about
Hmm.
mental health, right? Just because of the taboo and the things that we've learned, or culturally, I'll say, what happens in my house stays in my house, that kind of behavior. And therapy is for suckers,
Right.
you ain't got to go talk to that shrink.
Right.
You could pray it away or something, they it's all kind of cultural mishaps that reside especially in the Black community, and we want to debunk those today and
Hmm.
provide healthy information, so that we can live more of an abundant life in a more
Yeah.
healthy, and remain in a better, healthier space, right?
Right.
So we're talking about therapy ain't magic, and it is not. For those of you who are mistaken and feel as though TikTok and Instagram are your therapist, they are not.
Right. Right. I think it's the taboo of it. And so we understand why people have such a taboo about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, what I realize is that people will go to therapy for the other person, not
Good one.
themselves.
Yeah.
Because I heard Michelle Obama. She said, I signed up for couples therapy because I'm trying to fix Barack. And I'm like, how many of us really go in thinking I'm not the problem? They're the problem.
Yeah. Good point.
And it's like, and then we get there and we don't open up. We do hide stuff. I know I did.
Yeah.
And it's not that I feared anything. It was like, I want to paint this picture, to them. I want them to see me in a certain way when they don't care. They got you for what, 35, 45 minutes? And what is it, $200 that they billing your insurance?
Yeah. 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 Great point. I think that you're right. A lot of people do go in hopes of fixing the other person, right?
Hmm.
And not understanding that it's two people in that relationship and you have some ownership in your own mess, right?
Right.
But when we, hold that mirror up, we don't always see our mess. We only see the stuff that's on the other side of the mirror, everybody
Hmm.
else's mess, right? Which is unfortunate that we can't take a self-assessment and say, hey, you know what? I got some flaws. I have some things I need to work on, or
Hmm.
I definitely have some baggage that I've been either carrying on from relationship to relationship, and it's time for me to unpack this, right?
Right.
Some of that is fear, right? Because we don't necessarily trust the person that we're in relation with to
Hmm.
stay with us to help us unpack that, right? So a lot of times we go uh unaddressing those things because we are again fearful that the person that we are in relationship with is going to leave us because of the things that we start unpacking.
But then, but think about that. I just
Right.
real quick.
Yeah.
If we're afraid that that person is going to leave us because we're unpacking, we should have unpacked before they got there.
That part. That part. But most times we don't. And I say, so that's just two great points, right? So most times we don't unpack the things that we need to unpack, and we just carry that along with us to the next relationship, which is
Hmm.
not the correct way to do it, right? We're not living in a healthy space. We're not healthy ourselves, one, and two, we're taking that baggage on or dumping it out onto someone else. And then the other part of that is the fact that we don't trust that person enough to be able to stay. When in reality, if you at a place where you're working on those things, you're being transparent with that partner, and you all can work on those things together because they have their own baggage, right? They have their own things in their book bag that they need to unpack. Then you can build a deeper connection by working through
Hmm.
those issues that you all have decided. Say, hey, yes, I got some things I need to work on. And the other person
Hmm.
agreeing, yes, I definitely have some things I need to work on. Can you imagine the level of healthiness in that household or in that in relationship that can come from that? Like that's just amazing. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. But the first step is acknowledging that there is room for help,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like you said, TikTok coaches us. TikTok give us financial advice. And the way that somebody else handled it may not be the best way you need to handle it.
Absolutely.
Everybody don't have the clear definition of what a boundary is. Some people can put healthy boundary and some people can put up a wall and then next thing you know, you triggered me. Okay, well I didn't know that trigger was there because I
Yeah.
didn't see it past that wall. So it's so important that you fix yourself. I think it was last episode when I mentioned about it's not all about that flaws and all. Some things you can fix. And if a person tell you, you know what, I love you, but I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
And they point it out and there's space for you to fix it and you don't, I could be just like Iyanla Van Zet. You're not loving me the way I want to be loved. And I have a right to be loved the way I want to be loved without the fear that you're the best I can get. Because then
Absolutely.
that's another mode of fixing that need to be fixed.
Yeah, I agree. And you're absolutely right. We don't often look within to
Hmm.
say or to acknowledge the things that we have going on. So how do we fix that, right? Periodically throughout life, right? 20s, 30s, 40s. Not saying it has to be every 10 years, but every so often take a self-evaluation and say, hey, where am I in life, right? Am I
Hmm.
doing right by myself? Right? Am I taking care of me, my mental, my physical? All of those things are important, right? Am I taking care of my finances responsibly? Am I taking care of my spiritual connection responsibly? And then,
Hmm.
start walking things back. How am I treating my partners? How am I how do I show up as a friend? How do I show up
Hmm.
as a mother? How do I show up as a child, right? How do I show
Right.
up as a parent? All of those things
Right.
I would think you would need a self assessment periodically and check yourself, right? First. And then, start externally saying, hey, maybe you can help me, psychologist or therapist or coach, right? Maybe you can
Hmm.
help me fix some things that I feel like are a little bit off, or you
Hmm.
give me your feedback on you think of, if I'm off or whatever.
Yeah, and but then you have to want to hear what they have to say and
True.
take away the taboo of that's that white shit. Because and I'm being real because that's what our thought pattern is.
Yeah.
At first it was so hard to get people in our community to even seek help because being raised you were depressed and they tell you to go depress the dishes. So it was never handled correctly. You
Yeah.
don't know why you're sad. You don't know why you're overachieving. You don't know why when I get depressed, I go get another degree because that's the way that I've learned to mask and learn to deal with things. I
Yeah.
find my I find my hands busy. Or you was raised in church where feelings and emotions was not a thing unless you were pouring it out before the Lord.
Hmm.
You're crying there and all they told you all you need is prayer. No, I need a pill because I can't get it together. And it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the bigger concern comes in because some people need a pill. And if we don't look at the pill being a attack versus chemically, it's I have an imbalance.
Yeah. Great point.
I yeah, and I had to when I went and had to deal with grieving and had to finally grieve, I needed a pill
Yeah.
because I couldn't hold on to those emotions. I couldn't catch them.
Hmm.
So I took something that my doctor prescribed to where I can manage. Then I I'm working with my doctor. I got off of it. It's there to be as a buffer, not to be your lifelong dependent. Because I've had people that they feel like they cannot. It's like people who smoke weed. They have to smoke it to eat. They have to
Yeah.
smoke. Now you're becoming dependent because it should not be that way.
Hmm.
But I get it. People who drink, even though it's going to make you more depressed because it's a
A
depressant,
downer. Yeah.
you still going to drink. And then you be crying, I loved him. I
Yeah.
need it. And you be like, okay, we can't go out with her no more.
Debbie Downer.
Yeah, it's
No.
like, now she drunk texting everybody.
Yeah. Oh,
And
wow. You
we've
know
been
that.
there.
Yeah. Those
That's
are the
why
people
you
for
ain't
it.
shit. You ain't nothing. You're like, okay.
Well, you're absolutely right. In the same way, in my opinion, that we normalize heading to social media to get that counseling or that coaching or that therapy, we got to normalize saying, I'm not okay. Right.
Hmm.
And trusting the people that we have around us to be able to handle that information. And if they need to make other arrangements, or if they need to make certain phone calls, then be okay with that. Right.
Hmm.
Well, I think we should get to a place, if we're not already, right, and everybody's household is different, to where we normalize vocalizing, I'm not okay. I'm not
We
in a
don't
good
know how.
space.
That's a hard thing to say
Yeah, absolutely it is.
because we're black women. We have to be okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And to say, like, I'm processing it in my head. I don't think I've ever really said I'm not okay
Mm. To yourself or even
or out
aloud.
loud.
Okay.
And
Okay.
my to myself, I know that there were times where I'm like, I'm struggling. But then when somebody say, "Hey, how you doing?" Girl, I'm good. Child, I'm over here. I don't switch. I don't went to a different mode.
Yeah.
That's that mask.
Yeah.
And then, and it's hard to say you're not okay, even at work. Instead of saying, I'm overwhelmed, I think I got too much on my plate.
Mhm.
You feel that if you say that as a black woman, you feel that if you say that, that they're going to think you're weak. They're going to think you can't do your job. But a white woman can say it and they're going to divvy up her workload to make sure that she's in a healthy space.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And then if you don't have the right counselor to go to, they can use those words against you. You can go in and say, I'm I'm sad or I'm just frustrated. Patient is irate. No, no, I just said I was frustrated. I didn't say I
Yeah.
was going to come in here and take somebody out.
Yeah.
So I ask if I don't get a black doctor, I ask for my notes. I want to see
Mhm.
what you're writing in there.
Mhm. Good point. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, I do often, my natural response is, "Oh, I'm great,"
Hmm.
and 99% of the time I am. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, even now as we're having this conversation, I don't know that I've ever had or been at a capacity where things weren't okay, right? Where either I
Hmm.
didn't take a second to gather myself and my thoughts and how I'm feeling, to be able to share with whomever how I'm feeling. Right. I don't know that it's ever been for me that bad. Right. I just I don't. That's what, so that's maybe where my 99% is. I'm sure at some point there was, I don't know how or don't recall how I handle it. Generally, most times I'm okay, and there could be. You're right. I think that we as Black women just naturally take on a lot of things, right? And it could be for many different reasons, right? Not just
Hmm.
because we're in the LGBT rainbow family, but just because life is life. So
Right.
with that, I think we've been conditioned. I'll speak for myself. We've been conditioned to be like, I'm fine. I'll figure it out. I'll work it out. And we do. I do, right? Through the
Hmm.
grace of God, right? I clearly will say I'm not the smartest person to be able to fix and solve all the problems I have. I'm not. So naturally, I think that is our response. But when there is a situation that is in most cases out of your control, and you have no means to solve
Hmm.
that, what happens? I'm
You
sh-
crash. You
yeah,
at
and
rock
I'm sure.
bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
You at rock bottom because I can honestly say in my life, I didn't have anybody that I could turn to and say, I need this, because one, it was shameful for me to say. I had to deal with that.
Okay.
Two, nobody ever saw me in need. So to bring it up, and then the response is, I thought you had everything. See, as soon as you start there, I'm shut down. I would never in life ask for you to do anything for me again.
Yeah.
And typically, typically when you're in those type spaces, you hear your friends talk. And if they make a statement like that at any point, I know for me, I'm going to say, damn, they'll use that towards me. So I would never open up to them in that space because they're already judgmental.
Okay.
So, you know, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I remember a couple of years ago, right after we bought this house, got into a situation where jobs was dropping left and right. And I'm like, and I remember telling Shay, I have nobody I could call to help. So I have to do so much to make sure that we're always in a safe place. And as graceful as she is, well, I'm here. I'm like, but you can't help me the way I need help.
Right.
I need $8,000.
Yesterday.
Yeah, was good, Miss Marilyn Monroe. Thank you so much for tuning in. And so is that's it. It's like you you can't help me. And then say, well, I'm here. You can't help me because I don't need that. And honestly, I will walk away from a relationship if I feel that type of strain. Not because the other person can't help me, it's because I can't fulfill the space that I'm in. I don't want to be in love homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I I could never deal with that. I know me. I can be hungry and homeless alone.
Mm-hmm.
You'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't be in love and we're in a relationship and I've never saw that as a desire to want to be on the side of the road with my family. So I have to figure it out. And I'll joke and say, "Oh, well, that was a superpower my mom taught me." I've seen her always figure it out, but I also seen her cry so much. And it's like, yeah, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that type of experience. And then it wasn't until I went to counseling, and I had to find the right counselor because I'll be honest with you, I scared one counselor away. She could not understand and help me with my issue because she's never had those experiences. Then I finally, and she told me, she was like, "Yeah, I don't think I can help you, and I'll give you some referrals after one visit."
Mm.
Because when I unload it.
Yeah.
Then I got with another young lady, and even though she was awesome, so Jamie, if you hear me, you're awesome. She was awesome, but then it also got to the point where she was questioning me about certain things because my life seemed so unreal. And I'm like, yeah, but why didn't you respond in this manner? I didn't, because I just didn't. Like, this is a Black experience. And it was helpful that a Black person help you with those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if I tell you that when I was 15, my mom's boyfriend jumped on me and hit me, you're going to report that as a sign of abuse, even though I'm 48 years old, 47 years old. Wait, yeah, 47 years old. And if I say, well, that's a common occurrence, and I shuck it off, you're still not going to understand how can I get over it so quickly. Well, I didn't get over it quickly. I've learned to cope with it
Mm-hmm.
and just avoid that type of situation. And then you want me to unpack, and I'm like, I'm tired of talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
They want to revisit it. No, no. So it's important that you get with the right team to help you that can understand your lived experiences culturally, understand your lived experience just in your generation. We come from a generation that is totally different from any generation because we're in the middle. We're old enough to know what the analog clock is and how to tell time,
Mm-hmm.
but we also came in the technology era. So we're in that middle. We can still write in cursive.
That
So
part.
so you need to have somebody that understands that. I can't talk to a Gen Z. They don't understand what a landline is.
You know what it looks like.
Because it was somebody on TikTok that said, what if it was a young white girl, what if we had a phone that stayed in the house? We was like, that's
A
a
landline?
landline. We had those. And we had the long cord, we had the
Okay.
wireless one. They were plastic. We saw it. We've been there.
Yeah.
So they inventing what we've already had. So yeah.
Yeah.
So if you feel that a person is looking for a counselor, how would they go about it?
If I feel like a person is in need or is looking for a counselor, my advice is always to make sure that they find one that is going to fit their needs, that can truly understand what it is that they're dealing with, they're going through. And I always tell them, I say they may not be the first, second, or the third person that you speak to.
Hmm.
So is it uncomfortable to have to share and unpack your story multiple times? Absolutely. But in the long run,
Right.
this is a person that you can continue to visit and revisit over a periods of time, because right, you may fall off and get to a place where you're comfortable and you no longer need him or her, and then you have to go back. But this is a person that you know that they have a basis, right, of where you all started from and the things that you all have worked on to get you to a certain place, right? And if
Hmm.
at sometimes you need to again go back and visit that person, then you don't have to revisit or tell that person all over from scratch. So it's going to
Hmm.
take some time. That's my initial advice. It's not going to be the first, second, or third person, perhaps, and that you need to. It's very important that you find somebody that you can really talk to. It is It's not beneficial for you, right? To visit a person, a counselor or therapist, sit there and expect them to solve your problem or to fix
Right.
you. They're not going to fix you. They can
Hmm.
only give you the tools you need to be able to deal with the things that you're faced with, right? If
Right.
it is abandonment, if it is self harm, whatever those things are that you're there to speak with and unpack and figure out about yourself, they're going to give you the tools and perhaps some educational background as to why those things may have happened, what
Hmm.
contributed to those things, what to avoid going forward, and those types or kinds of scenarios. They're not
Right.
going to fix you. Once you leave that
Right.
office, you're still going to be the same person. The only difference is you'll have different tools and different ways to hopefully manage those situations when you see them again.
Right. Because they don't have a magic wand. And one thing that I learned is this thing called the emotions wheel.
Mm,
That in this emotion wheel, we have the outer, so it's like one, two, three, like three different rings.
hmm
The outer ring has the most emotions, the immediate, but then it filters. So let's say like it's 10, they filter into five, and then that five filter into one. So you have one big emotion that we don't even wouldn't consider an issue because say I'm angry. Okay. So no, okay, let me pick one. Say if I'm feeling helpless,
okay.
overwhelmed, worried. That's what you see on the outside. But when I'm being helpless and I'm frightened, overwhelmed and worried, I'm really scared and anxious. And if I'm scared and anxious, what is the baseline of that? Fearful. So my whole point is it's like an onion. There's layers to it. So when you brought up abandonment, that's a big one because majority of us have abandonment issues. But what does that stem from?
Right.
And what is the opening, issues that we see?
hmm
because we got the one that we didn't know was linked to it. We got the ones that's on the inside, then we got the ones that we see. So you have to keep in mind you can't self-diagnose yourself. There are people, these people are trained to help you pinpoint what is the issue, because if I give you a tool, because everything you've been telling me is anger, but I'm giving you a tool to fix fearful, I'm not helping you.
Mhm.
So you have to be open enough to give them the symptoms to say, these are the symptoms, so they can say, okay, you're being fearful. I got a tool for that. So being open, being honest, and being able to really listen in and take in, because sometimes a person that's looking from the outside in can see better.
Mhm.
Because it's people who house stinks, but they don't, but you their nose is blind to it. But let somebody from the outside in come in like, what is that?
Yeah, what's that smell?
Yeah. You didn't know your house stink. You didn't know
Yeah.
your car stink.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to get into a space where somebody can help you find that issue. One of my counselors did what is it called? Where they kind of make you regress in your thought. And they threw out a whole bunch of words. And while I'm like, I got to think of the name of it. I think it's EER or ERG, something like that. Anyway, and everything that was called out, and they said, "What do you see?" Because my eyes was closed, and I said, "I see my daddy." And I stopped. I said, "So, all of that was because I was holding an issue with my father.
Mm, that's
Would
good.
never even know.
Yeah. 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 Good point.
Wouldn't have never
Yeah.
known. So trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust it.
Absolutely. So, therapy versus personal responsibility. How much responsibility do we have in one identifying and making sure that we're acknowledging we do have an issue, right? Maybe that issue is anger, right?
Hmm.
And versus allowing other people to say, man, you know what? Maybe you have an anger issue. You know, you don't really know how to regulate your feelings, how to express yourself when you at this stage. I think there's something there, right?
Hmm.
You yourself may have said it to yourself, but not ready to acknowledge, right? How much responsibility do we hold ourselves accountable, and then do we take on the feedback from our loved ones, right? Because a total stranger ain't gonna be able to pick that up from
Right.
a conversation, right? A sibling, perhaps a cousin, an aunt, somebody is definitely is going to bring that to you. You have an anger issue. We need to address your anger problem or what have you.
Hmm.
Or is there is there a process that we need to weigh? Maybe this really is an issue. Maybe I really need to. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to go real hard. I think it's your 100% responsibility because only you can control you.
Yeah.
But you also have to be honest that if something happened more than once
Yeah.
and you the common denominator,
Haha.
it's you. You can't say everybody just cheat on me. Why? Is it that you're attracting cheaters, or they done found something better than you because you're showing a symptom or a sign? You have to figure that out. You have to sit with that and say, something ain't right. We know a couple of people that will blame everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why did you wear the red shoes? Because what's the name told me that no, you knew it wasn't red shoes. You knew that. And then when you hold a person accountable, including yourself, you feel judged. So if our family holds us accountable, we're going to say, why are you judging me? No, I'm holding you accountable because you have to own this.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to take it from family.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to hear it from a stranger because you don't have no emotional attachment.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
So yeah, because huh, let, me and my mom used to get into it all the time, even though she was right half the time. It's
No,
just
I agree. I
principle.
think it is our personal responsibility to
Hmm.
seek help as often and when needed, right? I
Yeah.
don't think it's anyone else's responsibility to bring that to your attention. You know if you foul.
Hmm.
No different than you know you musty, right? Nobody need to
Right.
tell you you musty for you to go wash your patootie.
Hmm. Yeah.
So that's where that lies for me. But I think other people, or some people, I'll say maybe those who are immature, they blame. They blame. It's always outward. It's always somebody else, like you
Right.
said. Always they did it. That person. Well, they said like you have no brain of your own. There's no accountability, no self accountability,
Right. But
responsibility for yourself. Yeah.
that's a personality disorder, to be honest with you.
I think it
A
could be. Yeah.
clinical personality disorder.
Okay.
So, they got borderline personality disorder, which is typical what they try to throw off on us a lot of times. Um,
Black people.
yeah,
Okay.
narcissism, which is standard in men more than women,
Okay.
but you can have the traits. You could be a woman with it, but typically more men is prone to be a narcissist because of their inability to um, accept the responsibility for somebody else's emotions. Everything always is how it affects me.
Mhm.
Then, so when you look at things like that, it's like again, you have to be open with the issue. Somebody's mentioned it to you before. Somebody has said this is a problem. And there's some things that, like, say if it happened on a job and they say you're aggressive. Well, no. How show me where I'm aggressive at? Because if I'm not hostile, if I'm not, being derogatory to me, I'm not aggressive. I'm being assertive because I stood up for myself and you took it as aggression. That's not my problem. Then I can walk away from that. But if somebody tells you, like those relationships where you just can't be without that person,
Mhm.
all of us lesbians started out that way. Oh, I just got to be around them. Oh, I'm gonna die because they at work. No, you need to figure out what's wrong because I'm going to work. I'm going outside without you.
I want to be in their skin.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I need
I
my
got
own.
gas. You don't want to be in my skin.
Good point.
You know what I mean?
I love that. I'm gonna
Yeah,
use
like
that.
leave me alone. Like I got gas. You don't want to be in here.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. It's I don't know why we do that, and especially in the LGBTQ community, more specifically in the lesbian community.
Hmm.
I don't believe that I went through that phase, and I think some of that is because I was well into 22, 23, before I even got into this life. So that part of my immaturity had passed, where you wanted to just be. Actually, I can't even say I was ever really
Hmm.
into people like that. I liked my freedom and flexibility. I didn't mind other people. I just didn't want, yeah, I don't know that I went through that. But it is
Right.
common.
It's very common. It's ridiculous common. I remember I had one girl tell me that she told me something was wrong with me because I'm like, I'm not that person. I'm not going to marry you to bury you.
Mm.
People could take that how they want to. I'm not saying you can't get sick while we're together. What I'm saying is, I'm not that type of lesbian that's going to nurse you to death. I'm not. I don't care that you got cramps. I'm not coming to rub your stomach. You knew it was happening. You got a couple of more years to go, unless you got a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
Why are we acting like now you want to be baby? I don't have it in me to give. And a lot of people had a problem with that. And I'm like, but I'm being honest. I will get you the medicine, but I'm not coming to lay next to you and hug up. I'm not. Girl, if you don't get over there, take them pills and go take a nap. Man up. Like I'm not. I'm not that type.
Come on, man up.
And it seems like, right, when I was dating, it seems like every girl I dated had a problem. And I'm like, is everybody sick? And this one girl, I told her, I said, I can't even cover you under my insurance. You got too many pre-existing conditions. I can't. That's too much. And so I'm not going to miss work or miss something to be uh, laid up in the bed. I'll see you when I get home. And but it's a very big thing that we have to be so emotionally entangled. I think that's an issue. Like you might need to go get some help.
Hmm. Hmm. Absolutely. It's very well could be. We talked just a little bit about medication earlier. Medication myths and cultural
Mm.
mistrust. Now, I will say that
Mhm.
I'll speak for myself again. In my family, I
Mhm.
think there has been mental health issues, right? But no one has come forward and spoken publicly, or not even publicly. I would say no one has shared their honest truth about what their mental health has been. Although we've seen it sometimes at the cookout, sometimes at the barbecue, somebody, flip their wig or somebody, what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But then they shuffle it right up under that rug, as though, oh, that's just who they are. Right.
That's it. You know
Mis-
how they is.
oh yeah, we have lots of misconceptions and unfortunate cultural behaviors. That's what I'll refer to
Mhm.
it as. That
I like that.
we've got to learn how to do. We've got to do better. We have to figure out, one, if there is a problem, so we're aware of how to fix the problem. Right? It can't
Right.
just be that's just who that person is.
Right.
And
That's that
can't
flaws
just
and
be
all.
always the
Uh-uh.
solution. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And but back then, in all fairness, it was scary to go to the doctor. It was scary to be diagnosed and put on pills because they just practiced on us like we wasn't nothing. So
I
I
get that.
get where it comes from.
Yeah.
But as you grow up, my mama was the one that everybody said, y'all know how Penny is. And I didn't know what that was until I got older. And I'm like, dang, y'all know how she is. She will pop
You feel
off
like
at
being
any
like,
given moment. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's just how she is. But nobody ever put her on any medication or tried to help. They just stayed out of her way
okay.
or did what, yeah. And that's just how it was. It was, then you got, the autistic ones. They wasn't autistic. You just had a badass cousin that got beat the same way you did. And they wasn't running and eloping. They stepped right there.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some of these kids need it these days. They need to be thrown down on the floor like we was because you didn't know your autistic cousin. They was treated just like you.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And it's just that's just it. And I had my grandma when I lived with my great grandmother, she had her niece that stayed with her. And that was the other, y'all know how she is because she would lay in the bed in the same spot for a whole month straight.
Mm.
She had a permanent curve in her bed. Then she'd get up and leave. You wouldn't see her for months. But when she was in her good mind, she would set up a P.O. box, had all her checks going there, everything. And then when she was out of her mind, she was gone. And she come back, put together. I don't ever remember a pill. I don't ever remember a doctor. All I know is that's just how she is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but we have to get out of that fear. Now, granted, we don't want them practicing on us. I remember when I had a incident when I was 17, and this white man, he looked at me. I was telling them some of the stuff I was struggling with, and he put me on a pill called Geodon. It's like a horse tranquilizer.
Oh wow.
And I was taking it, and I was asleep with my eyes open. I remember at work, they told me, they said, you've been standing there staring. I said, I was gone. And I said, never again. That's
That's
why
just
you have
crazy.
to get with a doctor that culturally understands
Yeah.
you and know what medications work with you. If you got high blood pressure, first thing they're gonna do is put you on lisinopril, not
Mhm.
knowing that in African Americans, it swell our face, it swell our tongue. It's a chemical that does not work with us, but they still give it to us.
Yeah.
You got a right to challenge the doctor.
Mhm.
You got a right to ask questions. You have a right to advocate for yourself. And maybe you need some lithium. There's
Yeah.
something wrong with you.
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely right in that I understand why our grandparents or our parents and our elders
Hmm.
uh, were fearful of going to the doctors, right? I get that. But now we're at a different place where we know better, we have to do better. We can't continue to rely on the same practices and behaviors as them because we're in a different time. And
Hmm.
like you said, even now, right? And maybe COVID was a loud reminder of that. And that I guess after COVID, when people started having kids, like they would be newborn babies lifting their heads up. I'm like, oh my god, nah, I ain't never had a
Right.
kid. So, but I'm pretty sure they ain't supposed to be
That
doing
was,
that.
yeah. You like, you supposed to be laying there limp. You supposed to be asleep. Why
Yeah, they
you up looking at me?
so, but that was for me a period that I can distinctly remember. It seemed like the kids are different now, right? They're learning different at different paces. They're learning different things. I mean, it's crazy now. But my whole point in saying that is because we know better, we have to do better. And that's where
Right.
it starts. We have to be able to say, hey, wait a minute. Johnny over there, he likes to draw some crazy pictures. Perhaps we need
Hmm.
to have him sit and talk with somebody to make sure Johnny don't end up on the news at 20, 25 years old, right?
Or me on the news because I done choked them out. Because what we ain't gonna do is that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But and that goes on, and all different cultures, right? We got some loony bins, but my point is we see things and not to diagnose, but maybe there's some questions that we need to start asking, right, ourselves. Hey, what's going on with you? Where is all of this coming from? Why is it that
Hmm.
how did you arrive at this thought? Where did this initiate from? What did you see? What did you experience? What happened to you? We need to start asking more questions. And if we don't have the answers, or we can't figure out what the answers are, then maybe let's just have a conversation with somebody who has some initials behind their name that could perhaps help us, right? That's not to say that anytime they offer us medication, then we go for it, but we're just trying to make sure that you're okay. And we can't just
Yeah.
continue to ignore the stuff that you're doing.
And we have to know what questions to ask.
True.
That's one. The other part is, if the child's teacher tell you that that child has a problem, don't take their word for it, because when you realize that the public school system is to monitor our behavior, but monitor their academic, then you'll see why they always say our kid has a problem. And you also have to know your child, just like what you said, Keisha, because when we got a report about Xavier that time, we know our kid. He doesn't initiate anything, he responds. So, what was going on to make him react in that way?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, if you notice, a lot of times we react, and that's when everybody want to get crazy because how we react. But you just called me the N word, so I'm not supposed to react.
Right. You left that part
You
out.
punch me. Yeah, you punch me, so I'm not supposed to react. Now I'm the angry one. And then when the police is called, who are they coming to first? And I know I always got a story for days, but I was at work and a fight broke out. This was in 98, 97, 98. A fight broke out between this white woman and a little white girl. And all I know is they growling at each other. I'm talking about, it was crazy. And I'm in the middle with a headset on. I got one in this hand, one in this hand, keeping them separate. And the manager came out, and the first thing he said was, Joy. I said, it's not me, it's them. Now, granted, he apologized, but he saw me. He didn't see these two going at each other. You saw me in the middle holding these two. And they was in the middle of going at each other. They're there to see to police our behavior. And they start in the school. The reason why we have more less black shootings, I mean shootings in black schools, because the police is already there.
I didn't think about that. Yeah,
They're there to monitor our behavior. They don't give a damn if you pass that state test. You no child left behind. If you get to a certain age, they're gonna push you through.
for sure.
So when you realize that, and the teacher is telling your child, telling you, well, I think they need to be seen. We had our specialists come in. You did it without my permission, and we got a problem. Because if we're engaging now, we would engage then. And so I'm saying all of this is that we need to start asking the right questions. When I asked that teacher, what made Xavier do that? You never asked. So when I asked him, he said he came by and hit me with a pencil. And he kept hitting me with a pencil. I told the teacher, and he came and hit me again, and the teacher did nothing. Now we got a problem. Because did he say that? Well, yeah, but I thought, okay, see now, but you're telling me that my child responded wrong, but you didn't do, you have to ask the right questions, get
Hmm.
involved. So whether you're advocating for somebody else, your child, because them the first ones they're going to come after, advocate for yourself. No, I responded this way because of what they said. So if we're going to look at the situation as a whole, let's look at the situation as a whole.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think all of those are important questions, and I think that because oftentimes due to because of certain situations, people of color are always in the defense, not
Hmm.
realizing that if we just ask, like you said, the right questions, we could probably eliminate a lot of things and get straight to the point.
Right.
But they want to offer us their opinion on what they feel like happened. And most times, like you said, they didn't ask the right questions. But
Right.
if you know your kid, like you said, you ask the right questions and
You
you can
ask the right question.
get to the solution much faster. Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. You have to ask the right question. And if the police is involved, they're going to come to you first. So you have to not be on the defense to be
Yeah.
able to unemotionally explain the situation. Why? Because you're going to be the second person they ask.
Yeah.
They're going to come to you first to de-escalate because they want to grab you, do all of that. But they're not going to ask you what happened first.
Yeah.
So it puts you in the defense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I say, because depending on the circumstances
Hmm.
and how we respond is going to also set the tone in terms of how they treat your kid too.
Right.
We can't be cussing,
Exactly.
yelling. I can tell you 100% that's not going to solve the problem. That's not going to help your kid.
Unless you're ready to de-enroll them, then you just burn the school down at that point. Just burn it down. Because I'm
Well,
about to take my kid out of here. So now you finna see all of this.
that is a solution. I wouldn't recommend the solution, but that is a solution. But
Sometimes
yeah,
you got to be ready
absolutely.
to burn that bridge. Like, I'm not gonna let me make a disclaimer. I would never literally burn a school down, but you're finna about to get all of this that's about to come out
Free.
because I'm already de-enrolling them. I done made it a plan of action.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I know that there's no point of return, I don't mind burning the bridge because I can swim. I never set a fire, but I always carry a can of gas just in case we need to take this up another level.
That's what I'm talking about. So we got a few minutes here, but before we go, I want to get into this last little statement.
Hmm.
Burnout in caregiving and activism, right?
Hmm.
Um, Especially when we're dealing with a person that if we are a caregiver to a person who has some mental challenges, uh, and the burnout that comes with that, right? And then also advocating, right?
Hmm.
And I think I shared with you a little over a year now. I had some of those issues in our house, right?
Hmm.
Um, I'll say my nephew had some issues, and although we were his caregiver for a period of time, he wasn't necessarily in our house. But because of the age range he was in, he started developing some mental health issues.
Hmm.
So we, or me as his aunt, biological aunt, there was only so much I could do because of his age, right? He
Right.
had to himself say, yes, I definitely have something going on, or definitely, but he wasn't at a state of mind where he could do that.
Hmm.
So there's challenges and there's things that go along with that, but I can imagine that after a period of time, you will get burnt out. You
Yeah,
will get tired
absolutely.
of having to go respond and be defensive and be this person's advocate because they're at a place where they can't do that for themselves.
And I think that's where a lot of people in those situations have to utilize resources.
Yeah.
And there are really good resources out there.
Hmm.
And I say that because, say, if you're doing any type of caregiving in your mind, well, I love them, I'm going to do it all. No, you can't.
Yeah.
You need a break. It's going to be times where you're going to get so overwhelmed, and you have to be realistic about that. I remember me and my wife was having that conversation, and I told her, I said, if you get sick, I am going to call in a nurse. Not that one, I ain't wiping your butt, but the fact is that I know it's going to become a lot where I'm gonna need to leave out. You need to have, so you have to be realistic. That's the
Sure.
whole point. Be realistic. And if your child has a disability or you're the caregiver, you don't have all the tools. I know you have the great intention, but you don't have
Hmm.
all the tools. There are agencies out there, adult daycare, because they need to be out the house.
Sure.
You need to help them acclimate, give them life skills. And sometimes we don't understand what that life skill is,
Hmm.
right? So you don't want them to burn the house down, so you don't introduce them to cooking.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to know what you can do, your limitations, and how to get it and get help.
Yeah. That's the most important.
Because a lot of people are like, well, I wouldn't put my loved one in that place. I would. If they
Yeah.
had dementia, I would
Yeah.
part time because they need to be in a therapeutic place that is trained to handle things like that.
Hmm.
Versus me upstairs sleep, they wander downstairs. Next thing you know, we got a silver alert.
Yeah. That's a
Same
good
thing
point.
if your child is on the autism spectrum, because right now it seems like every kid is on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic and truthful in what your capabilities are and what your abilities are, regardless on how you feel or what you can do.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and be honest about that. And like you said, the most important part, in my opinion, or the most important part for us, again, because I'm his aunt, there was only so much that I could do
Only
because of
so
his
much.
age, right?
Hmm.
And even his parents, right? There was only so much that they could do, from what I understand. But there's resources out there. You have to figure out what resources are needed and necessary, and the best way to get that person help. Right.
Right.
Yes, you can love that person all day, every day till they stop taking their last breath. But there's only so much that you are capable of doing, and that you have the tools and the education and the training to do. I just don't,
Hmm.
that's not my ministry, that's not my calling. I don't know what that is. But I can
Yeah, I
definitely
can't
get
help
pick up
you.
a phone call and figure out who can help you. You know what I'm saying?
And the
Yeah.
same thing for yourself. If you really truly, because one, a lot of people overlook self harm.
Mm-hmm.
We go from zero to suicide, but there's a bracket of people that cut themselves, that burn themselves. And we miss that because we don't see them, the scars, until one day you're like, oh my God, what's no, you missed all of that. If you feel that yourself where you are losing control, advocate for yourself. Don't post on Facebook. There's a number you can call. There's a friend. They even got now where you could text people
Yeah.
and talk. You there's no way that you cannot find the appropriate place. 24 hours. They will come pick you up. Whatever. Even if you walk into a regular hospital right now and said, I really feel like I may hurt myself. They're going to
Mhm.
take you right then. But if you
Yeah.
post it on Facebook, I'm not going to believe you either because you took the time to make a post with you crying in it. You had time to think where the real help.
Yeah.
So you have to advocate for yourself. Only you know what's going on the inside to say, I don't think this is right. It's that impulsive thought is getting to me.
Mhm.
And I need to talk to somebody to see what I need to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And if they need to put you under a watch or a hold, take it. Rest. Now, before we wrap it up, there are some self care things that you can do. If you're feeling overwhelmed, go take a walk. If you're frustrated, go take a bath. These are things that literally will shock your mind, shock your nervous system, and put you in a different space, believe it or not.
Mhm.
Sometimes breaths don't work for people right then. But I can tell you, if you have an anxiety attack, give them one of those sour warheads. It will it literally the sensation of that warhead, it will put your it will literally jumpstart your what do they call that thing, nervous system.
Mm.
I don't know why, but it does.
Yeah. That's
So
interesting.
those are self-care things. Self-care is getting the help, trying different things. You need to take a day.
Mhm.
And 9 times out of 10, you're either hungry, sleepy, or you mad.
Yeah. So, Melanie. Yeah, I used to get some people that would reach out this, feeling hopeless and helpless.
Hmm.
And my first word of advice is to go help somebody else.
That is so
Go
good.
help somebody else, and that will completely take your mind off of what emotional state you're in.
That is so true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So what you're feeling, take that feeling and go do it.
yep. Go
If
help
you're
someone
feeling
else.
sad, yeah, if you're feeling sad, go make somebody laugh.
Yeah, go feed the somebody at the shelter. Go get
Exactly.
a homeless person a meal. Go sit with them. Go talk with them, and it takes you right out of that state of mind that you're in.
And I know that we're not a spiritual show,
Mhm.
but that's exactly what the Bible says.
Mm.
He say, for the spirit of heaviness, put on the garment of praise. So if you feel heavy and sad, sing a song, cut some music on, do the nay nay. I'm telling
Okay.
you, it shifts you into a different space.
Mhm.
And it may sound funny, like even taking the sour head or a lemon head or something like that and putting it in your mouth when you have an anxiety attack. It shocks your brain and your nervous system. So
That's
instead of
crazy.
sitting there,
Yeah.
calm down, just breathe. Nah, throw a warhead in their mouth. They could be like this. Next thing you know, okay, hold on, I'm back. Now let's see what we can do to get you out of this moment.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Another good thing that I use that, and I didn't learn this until I was in college. I would be stressed about school or projects and things that I had going on, and I would go play pool. And the whole time I'm playing pool, I don't forgot about what I was stressed about because
Yep.
my mind is now on, can I hit this 8 ball in here without getting scratched? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the whole point of playing pool is it takes your mind off of what it is you were stressed about. And I had done that for
Hmm.
years. For years. Even when I went to the Navy, I would go to different cities that I lived in, join a pool league, and excuse me, had minimal stress because my mind was focused on everything else. So
Fishing
that
does
worked
it.
for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Fishing does it. Eat some sunflower
There
seeds.
you go.
You ever just sat there and just ate sunflower seeds? You ain't thinking about nothing. Your body goes into automatic because
Yeah.
your mouth just knows how to separate the seed. You're not concentrating on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
and you literally just shift your mind. And if you purposely go and find the issue again, then you the problem. Because I bet after you finish playing pool, you didn't go and look for the problem that you left.
At
No.
all. At all. No.
Unless it come back up, you're like, shoot, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. 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 But I didn't realize that pool was doing that for me unknowingly.
Hmm.
Like it was just something I went, oh, let me go, And some people go shopping, right? Right. I wouldn't recommend shopping, right? We don't want to create more debt, right? If there's some things you need,
And I
obviously,
wouldn't
yeah.
recommend driving,
Okay.
not a continual drive, because you could be so lost in your thought, you can get into a car accident. If you're gonna just drive to the store and go leave your wallet in the car and just go walk around, drive to get away from the situation, but don't drive and while you're in that thought, while you're
Mm,
mad. No, you're not focused on your surroundings and what's going on. So I wouldn't definitely recommend that.
yeah.
Do you still play pool?
Yeah, I still play pool. Not as often as I did, but yeah, I do still play pool. I was in a league at one point, but right around
Hmm.
COVID, I just stopped, and then after COVID was over, I just never got back into it. But yeah, I
Got it.
really enjoy it. Yeah, coping mechanism.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But it's therapeutic.
yeah, for sure it is.
We're talking about therapy isn't magic. It ain't magic, but what is still therapeutic. And it's a form of self-care, right? It's still you're doing something for self.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not always a spa because when you land up there in the spa, you still thinking. Now, unless you just fall asleep, that's something different.
Yeah, yeah.
And you don't utilize $300.
So what we're gonna call on for people to do is, if you would share a mental health myth that you had to unlearn, and then one tool that actually helped you, right? So that's going to be the call to action. Again, we
Yes.
want to promote healthy behavior, right? And if seeking a therapist or a counselor of some form is going to help you get to your best version of yourself, then by all means, please do that fast today. Don't pass go, or whatever the
Don't
saying is.
collect $200.
There you go. But yeah, make sure you do that. Make sure that happens for you. We want, people to be in a healthy state so that we can have healthy relationships, healthy marriages, healthy all the way around, right? Even if you want to be by yourself. But
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't have anything else, right? You got anything you want to end with?
Just want to add that help is there, right? You have emergency help, whether you need to call a number, you need to go to the hospital, whether you got insurance or not. Some people are antisocial, and I get that. You can text therapists now.
Yeah.
You can face on the telehealth.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many resources out there. Don't let the opportunity pass you by because you can't get to the office. You don't have to go to the office these days,
Yeah.
right? You got, I mean, we're not getting compensated by them, but you got peer, what is it? Talkatry, it's Talkspace. That's one, and they got a couple of other ones out there. Do what you need to do to be your best self.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not magic, but they can give you the tools. You can take those tools and you can make any and everything.
Yeah. How about this? If you all have a good recommendation, drop it in the chat. So if someone is in need, then
Hmm.
they can access the information that you share with them.
Right. So
Great.
Melanie said, in other words, don't call. Exactly. Because he's not coming down to change
Right.
anything for you because he gave you doctors, if that's how you look at it.
Yeah.
If that's how you want to look at it, because people, they quick to throw you at the church.
Yeah.
No, there has not been nothing proven to say that that helped because all they did was told you to go pray about it. Some things I can't pray in the midst of, and I'm being real.
Yeah. That's true.
And you
I'm
have
with
to be okay with that and be truthful with yourself. I can't pray this away. I'm angry, and I have a right to be angry. If somebody touched your child, you're not going to go tell me to pray.
you. Hmm.
Just get some bail money and I'll be right back.
Okay, expeditiously.
Listen, we're done.
Yeah,
So, no, Jesus don't solve that. But there's legitimate help. Get it.
yeah. All right. Well, as always, keep a regal mindset, and we'll see you not next week, but the following week, which I believe is March the 6th. So
We're
make
already
sure,
in March. Oh my
yeah,
God.
next time we meet, we'll be in March.
Yes.
March Madness for those who watch basketball or something.
Melanated March. That's what we doing. We still
Yeah,
black.
yeah. Let's run it into March. All right,
Hmm.
y'all. Have a great weekend. Take care.